Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Biz Dev Podcast, a podcast about developing your business. I'm David Baxter, your host, joined today, per usual, by Gary Voigt. Hello, sir.
Hey, what's up?
More importantly, we are joined by the famous Runbin Dong of Scale Social AI. Hello, good sir.
That was a lot, but David, great to be here.
Hey,
Not sure about famous, but
you are, man, I tell you are hot right now. I'm just saying it. I know you're very shy. I know this from meeting you a few times. But dude, I swear your name is everywhere. You got one of those startups that everybody's talking about and all excited. And I'm going to get into that. I have to be very nice here nice to Gary. Last time we recorded, I skipped our fun intro section and he's very mad at me. So before we get into Scale Social,
I wasn't the one that was mad at you.
You're right. Christy was mad at me. She's still mad at me. Christy's our marketing person who's in charge of all things podcast. She's still mad at me. So I want to ask, we start out with some intro questions. Just get to know you a little bit better and see what makes you tick. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. What are you watching right now? TV, movie? What's currently got you going?
Oh gosh, Fallout. Just finished season 2, and I can't believe season 3 is coming in 2027.
What was the
That's
name
the
of the show?
downside of like
Fallout.
Fallout.
He's watching Fallout. I watched the
Fallout.
first
Okay.
season. I'm a big fan of the game. Is the second season as good, or don't spoil it for me? But is it as good? Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm a big fan
for
of the effects, but I've never played the game, so I've never
Dude,
watched the show. But
it captures the game because the game is known for like just over the top, weird.
yeah,
and gore.
I know the imagery and the style behind it. Yeah.
Very, very good. All right. Are you a early riser or are you a midnight oil guy?
Wow, good question. Used to be midnight oil.
All right.
Now both.
Both. What is that because
when you got
to
a startup, yeah.
Yeah. Is that because you had to be?
You don't sleep a lot.
So when you, as a startup founder, because I empathize with this, you're way ahead of me, but the vibe is still there. Is that because you're working or because you're now spending time with the family and stuff later because you're working so much? That's what I find a lot of times.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. In the earliest days, it's working constantly. It's the fact that my business owners would text me around midnight. So I still have a habit of like having my laptop right by the bed. So when they text me, they're like,
dangerous.
I'll just pull it up and do some Canva magic. But you know how it is.
Nice.
But now, like where we are right now, we have a really good team in place. And so I try to be much more deliberate with like saving weekend times and evening times. And so we actually made it into a practice for our entire team where there's family time like blocked out after 6 p.m.
I like that.
That's cool.
One of the things I did with Big Pixel early on was I'm a big believer in family time. And I would tell everybody, hey, if I'm working late, that doesn't mean you have to work late. And I had to specifically say that because when you're the leader, you have to say that. And if I give you a weird Slack message at 8 or 9 o'clock, that doesn't mean you have to respond until the next morning. And I would make that because some people are working and if they can get to me, because some people just like to work. Great. If you are ignoring me, that's fine too. So I gotta get it. All right.
Notice the
Favorite
same
hobby or pastime?
Gaming, big gamer.
Your console guy or your PC guy?
PC guy.
PC guy.
And
all right.
I get my console thing through Steam. So I don't know if
You Steam Deck guy?
Yep.
I have found a lot of guys nowadays are buying Steam Decks so they can play in bed next to their wives. I feel like that's cheating, but that is definitely
It's great.
Definitely. It's like, I'm here, honey. What are you talking about? I went to bed the same time you did. Yeah. That's absolutely a thing.
And Chen indulges me. She's like, you got to pull out your Steam Deck at some point. And it's great to have a partner who supports.
Well, you got to get the money's worth out of it, right? Come on. All right, last one. Where do you think human robot, the assistants, the humanoid robots, will be in 5 years?
Oh gosh, actually have a friend who's working in this area right now. Very specific tasks are absolutely possible.
You think they're going to be in your house? Are they going to be Elon's dream, where we all have one in 5 years?
Or just
factory?
factory?
I mean, just look at where LLMs have come in 2 years, right?
Yes, for sure.
And so I think one of the biggest challenges right now with humanoid robots is actually having a sufficient training data set, like sufficiently large and diverse
The
training data
world
set.
model. Mm-hmm.
Yep. To actually feed into like what the tasks are supposed to look like. That's the biggest limiting factor.
I think, and you're right. It's hard to discount how fast things have come, but at the same time, that problem is so large. And Elon has proven himself to not be a reliable source of information in any of his business dealings. So when he says, I think his newest one is he's going to have more computing power in space by 2030 than all of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
All right, dude, you still don't have self-driving cars. I'm just saying, not really, but I mean, I'm intrigued by this. I don't know. It's all right. Cool. So you're optimistic. It sounds like you're optimistic that they'll be all over the place. We'll have Rosie the robot in our house in 5 years. Okay.
I've been thinking a lot about that actually because of the field that we work in. We're in the data field as well, right? And so if I wasn't working on Scale Social, I would have built some kind of a real world telegraph sort of device. Have you guys seen the Aura Ring?
I'm
Oh,
wearing
there you
one.
go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Imagine like being able to wear like a couple of Aura rings and at least like being able to do telemetry on your hand movements and deploying that to like, I don't know, 1 million people. We'll be able to track how people move in real time.
Well, that's
a
what the Facebook
sufficiently
band
large
is, isn't it?
Is it?
Their new band. They've got, so when they sold the display
Ray-Ban.
glasses, but they have the new band on your arm that they can now track your hand movement, even like behind your back. You can do handwriting and it knows what you're writing. So it's really
that.
specific. Okay.
Yeah,
so
imagine now being able to track your hands in how you're folding laundry, how you're cooking, how you're doing all of these things with your hands. And that just becomes David's data set for how David moves, right? And now multiply that and compounding it over like millions of people. That's a really good training data set for like humanoid robot companies. Like that would be a viable business. Like just selling data sets.
There are those people now who are building those robots and they're training and they have to wear these little silly hands that mimic the robot's hands to do that. But at what point, and we're going off on a tangent, which I love. At what point is that a privacy thing? Like, I don't know if I want Meta of all companies to be able to track me like that. That's a lot. That's very invasive.
So here's the counter to that. What if we say it's not David, or it could be anyone? It's de-identified. Because I'm not interested whether it's David or not, right? I'm much more interested in that it is a human being doing this action. And so what if I can start paying people? Like if you have this adapted to your hands and you can earn, I don't know, like a really good annualized salary just being tracked to do these tasks. It sounds very dystopian, I know, but
it's a little bit, but
let's
I can
teach robots to do things.
Well, I saw a thing on LinkedIn the other day. It was like 2024, you were a prompt engineer. 2025, you were a vibe coder. 2026, you are an orchestration manager. 2027, you're unemployed. I was like, it's not, because we're training. We're basically saying, here's how to do my job. That's a bit cynical, but if you're doing heavy labor or whatever, you're literally training how, and like, was that company Mercure? I never say it right.
Yeah,
Mercure. But they're one of those AI training companies. And I'm a doctor, and this is the fastest growing company in the world. I think they went to 400 million in 18 months, which is nuts. But I'm a doctor, a radiologist, anything, and I am training AI how to do my job. I mean, what do you think is happening? Seriously, like, I know you're getting money now, but what is you think you're doing? You're training the bot to take over, right? Does that scare you at all? You cool with that?
I think it's inevitable because one, the technology is moving in that direction, and two, so here's a fundamental question, right? If you're not the one doing it, would someone else do it? Right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And so then I think the bigger question to ask here is what happens then? Like if we assume that this is an inevitable event. And what I'm realizing a lot more, because we use a lot of AI native tools at our company. We're 14 people, 5 full-time only. And we're able to do just so much more because we have agents, we have, assistants, I have an AI chief of staff that does everything.
Oh, now I have more questions. I'm ready.
Oh yeah. So imagine, right, being in a sales call, and then right after the sales call ends, you land on a beautifully designed, lovable proposal that is in the form of an interactive website, right? Like for that particular opportunity, like that's a real thing. And so like when these things are happening and the systems are in place to actually do it well at scale, then the scarcity comes into human judgment. So whoever's running that process, I have to trust that person, not an agent. The person has really good judgment. That person has a really good taste on how that proposal should look. Design wise, that person should know that the content actually converts. And so that judgment becomes even more critical. So then, this is getting on a tangent too, but if we don't give new talent, the newly grads, the real world experience to build up those judgments, are we going to see a skills gap very quickly? And we're already seeing that.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer. If you don't have juniors, you don't have seniors. And
Right.
I think there's a lot of companies right now in every industry, but especially mine, that are very short-sighted in that I'm going to save a buck now and absolutely create a massive gap, that skills gap, in 5 years. And I'm taking the gamble, I guess, that in 5 years I get rid of my seniors too. And so, I mean, that's one of the things that sticks with me, owner of Big Pixel Software Development. Where does Big Pixel look like in 5 years? I would have said a year ago I was more nervous than I am now, because I think and I would love if you agree or disagree. I think I am learning as we've jumped deep into AI ourselves that the fundamental humanness of knowing what to craft is inherently human. Your audience, whatever you're crafting, is still a human. And that human wants to be surprised and delighted. And AI is not equipped to do that. And I think it's at that point, that human need of that to surprise and delight is always going to be there. Now, the implementation, I think, is going to be robots, however you want to define that. But I think at the core, and the other thing is, when you talk about, oh, well, in 5 years, you don't need software developers. But here's the thing, the people who hire us don't want to go to a bot and have them code it either. They want to go to a human and have us use the bots for them. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. And so my engineering team, my CTO, and everyone who works on our products, the AI is not really there yet, whereby they can actually write production-ready code.
Sure.
That's the big gap. However, it's available to write a lot of simpler codes, right? And so they're sort of performing in the capacity of directing that work. So they go to sleep and the coding agent just codes. And then there's a bigger lift around code review and merging the code. And so again, like the judgment layer comes in. And so what I see, and I would love for Scale Social to actually do this, is what if I can pay someone 2x, 3x, 4x the annual salary because they have great judgment? That's not impossible anymore, right? And so what if I can start hiring great super contributors who can give outsized returns because the tools are great? That then fundamentally changes the labor market, right?
For sure.
Actually contributes to the issues. And so,
because you have super producers and then you have everyone else. I mean, the super producer by very name is maybe 10%, if you're being generous, of the workforce. That means 90% of the workforce just has to find another job, which, wow, that's scary.
Yeah, well, if it's externality, so I run a nonprofit which matches college students to startups in the region, right? And so the reason we started that thing is because we realized that there's going to be a huge skills gap. The question is, who bears the externalities of that? Because the companies are not going to do it, right? You see all these layoffs, and they're laying off mid-level people now.
Yep.
And so when they do that, they're signaling an excess of labor. And if mid-levels are having difficult time finding jobs, what happens to the juniors? And so I think that externality needs to be solved somehow. In the US, I don't know where it's going to go. In other countries, I might have some kind of a bet.
We are challenging ourselves as Big Pixel this summer, we are going to get an intern. And this is our trial. And what we're trying to do is see if we can take someone scrubby fresh, green behind, wet behind the ears, green, all those fun words, and turn them into an AI coder during an internship. That's test number one. If that works, because they're still in school, if that works, we're going to hire, our next hire would be a super junior dev straight out of college, and we will apply those things we learned. The question is we don't know if that'll work. I don't know, because we only hire seniors because we move so fast and we can't afford to train a junior. But if now the training is, I just need you to know how to use AI, that's a very different train set, right? We don't need you to, the senior is in your computer, right? He's assuming we can teach you how to use this well, we should be able to produce good code on the other side. That's the hypothesis. We'll see how it goes. All right. So we jumped way ahead. This was awesome, but we need to back way up. Tell me about Scale Social.
Yeah, so Scale Social is a AI enabled UGC supply chain. So it sounds very jargony. Imagine
that just rolls off the tongue right there.
Imagine going to a restaurant or a local bar. You see a QR code on the table, and on the QR code it says, "Hey, share an authentic, genuine moment that you've had here." And in exchange, you get free drink, free side. That's it for the consumer, right? And so effectively, we are building the infrastructure. Think of Stripe, how Stripe processes payment. We're building that for authentic content. And you'll hear the word authentic and authenticity like basically countless times throughout this podcast, because it's a big deal. The reason is because we were initially building an AI-powered tool that just generates stuff with AI. And this was last year. And very quickly, we realized that, well, two things. One, we cannot fundamentally compete with the ones with way deeper wallets, Meta, Google, name your big tech giant. And so I like to think that there is a David versus Goliath moment, but in the face of capital, it's kind of futile.
Infinite money is hard to beat.
And so we said, you know what, let's not compete in that lane, right? And then two, we kind of telegraphed last year or the year before, if the marketplace is flooded with fake AI generated content, what's going to stand out? Mm-hmm. So I was trained as a biomedical engineer. There's a core concept called signal to noise ratio. You want to maximize the signal and reduce the noise. Exists in every single system, right? So then the core question here is, how do you increase the signal to noise ratio in what you do?
Okay. So you're doing that now. What do you define as an authentic thing? I'm a guy who just wants a free drink and a free appetizer. So I get in there and I just stick my tongue out and I call that my authentic moment. Mm-hmm. Are you guys equipped to do you just throw that out, or you just put it in a library and the restaurant manager throws it out? How does that work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we collect the content and we get the rights to that content, right? And so that's very important because content rights is everything in this game. And then what we do is we put it in a server at a point of capture. So imagine taking that video at that point in time. We use AI to evaluate your content. If it's a photo, it's the photo. If it's a video, frame by frame. And based on historical data on what content has performed well for that particular segment, if it's a restaurant, we know what creatives work well. So we score it. Great, so-so, not great. And so at that point of capture, I'm able to tell the consumer whether it's great or not. And if not so great, then I can let the consumer know that they should try again.
Okay.
Right? So much of the noise comes after. Like, there's just so much content being created all the time, which inherently introduces a ton of noise. And everyone's trying to fix this in post-editing. Same analogy with this podcast, right? If I say terrible things right now, absolutely horrible things, then this will probably go into post-edit. Our thesis is, what if we can train and enable and help people capture really good content upfront?
And so what does Scale Social look like? I call this my open field question. In 5 years, no major hurdles, what do you look like?
Yeah, we would love to power digital experiences whereby real consumers, these are customers, we're all customers of someone, some brand,
Mm-hmm.
where we say, I vouch and back this brand. Like I stand behind them, right? And I stand behind them so strongly that I'm willing to give them content so that other people can stand behind them as well. And we
You
do this at a
almost
global scale.
you almost sound like the anti-AI slop company.
Yes.
Is that by design? I mean, are you guys doing your marketing message specifically to sound like that?
Yeah. So it's by design, it's by learning what works, what doesn't work. I'm in Atlanta today. We'll be giving a keynote tomorrow on this very topic, right? And the learning came from my past experience. When I was at IBM Watson, we had the opportunity to build AI systems as well. And this is like early days.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, when they hear AI, they think about efficiency, automation. They think about everything that it can do without involving the human. And I remember giving a keynote like many, many years back. We were in healthcare, so the stakes are even higher, where I took the position of human-based system design. And I was in telemedicine. So imagine you have a pain point. You're looking to talk to someone. Every single other company tried to build a bot to triage you. We took the approach of building a solution for our nurses. So it sits behind the nurses. So efficiency is being realized, but as a patient, you're still talking to a human nurse. So now imagine that principle, that philosophy being applied to scale social as well.
So restaurants is just your beachhead, or are you okay? That's very cool. So where is Scale Social in terms of where are you? I know you guys just celebrated 1 million ARR, which is very exciting. Are you guys still on a runway, or are you guys self-sufficient? Where are you guys in that world?
So from bootstrapping the business, I bootstrapped it with $50,000 of my own money. My wife was our first investor, actually. I had to convince her.
Nice.
Since the beginning, and that was last year, we've broken even about 4 times. By the time we raised that pre-seed round, we decided that we need to go faster. And so we started hiring people, right? And so we're burning cash right now. We're not profitable anymore. We're on track to do $5 million this year. And so if we consistently hit our revenue targets, we should break even again in Q2, Q3 of this year.
That's amazing. I love it. That's a great story. And this is where I would usually do my free consulting bit. I think I'll take that offline. But you don't hear that story very often. That's what I think is so great. So you bootstrapped it, because most of the time, so I'm building Tila and we are not raising money. And the reason I'm not is because I want to, if I do take money, I want it to be on the curve of some sort of hockey stick, whatever hockey stick looks like. This is not a $1 billion idea, I don't think, but it's rising. And I realize when I'm talking to, now that I've been sitting on this side of the table, whatever, that so many startups come to me when I'm mentoring, when I'm talking. I know you do this more than I do, I think. You talk to all these generally young people, and they're raising money before they have any idea if there's a there. And like with Chila's case, there are many times when I'm like, is there anything here? And there's no downside if there's not. I've worked very hard, but I've had a blast doing it. So cool, right? But if I was in someone's pocket because I borrowed $100,000 from my friend's family, an investor, whatever, oh, that's tough. And I love your story and the fact that you invested in yourselves. Wonderful, always a good idea. But you've been growing at a pace that you've been able to break even multiple times. I mean, that's a very unusual story. That's very cool. That's a really long way of saying cool, but it's just,
I bet
it's nice
you
to
can,
hear.
yeah, I bet as you build Tila, you can sleep so much better at night because you know your own skin is on the game.
It's just,
right.
If it fails, it's just me. And I'm okay with that. I told my wife, I said, to me, success is, if I fail in a blaze of glory, it just is a bad idea. Cool. I've lived and learned. If I am wildly successful, yay, very cool. It's the middle ground where you just kind of meh, you're just limping through. That's what I would be disappointed in, right? That, we've got a few users, it's kind of here, that would be disappointing, right? Because then that's just like, you didn't, I don't know, go big or go home, I guess. It's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Yes.
That wraps up this episode of the BizDev Podcast. Thanks for listening. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at hello@thebigpixel.net or connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, and LinkedIn. BizDev is a production of Big Pixel, a US-based provider of UX, design, strategy, and custom software. This podcast is edited by Matt McCracken, yes, that is his name, and me, Christy Pronto, marketing guru for Big Pixel.